lucky because you're living in a day and age where social media is becoming more and more common. So Facebook marketing is common knowledge. And not only that, Instagram, we have Pinterest, we have TikTok, we have YouTube, all these other platforms. And the problem is clients need help. This is a content hamster wheel. It is so hard to show up and be omnipresent and be on all of these channels unless you have help. Not one single business owner who is successful online is doing it by themselves. And so this is why stepping into the role as being a social media assistant can really help you kickstart your business. You'll have tons of work and you'll have an opportunity to learn and grow and really discover your niche along the way. Social media, it's not easy. It definitely takes a certain type of person who is good with creative. You need to be able to write and proofread, and you need to be able to do a little bit of conversion copy because you want people to take an action from those posts. But you also want your post to be engaging and you want it to sound like your client. So there's a little bit of art into that. And then there's also some graphic design. And I'm going to give you some tips for starting as a social media manager or assistant, and so you can up level to being a manager. So first, let's start with what's the difference between a social media assistant versus a manager. Assistant just means you're like cutting your chops. You're just getting started. You don't quite have the strategy down and you're not really ready to take the bull by the horns. Honestly, that's it, right? We got to get in the mailroom. We got to work hard and we got to grow our confidence, get good at our craft. And then we can up level to social media manager. The reason I want you to up level as fast as possible is social media managers will get to charge more. You can start having retainer packages. You can start having monthly retainers and you can get paid better when you're doing that. When you're actually coming to the table and you're able to write and do the strategy and you're pretty autonomous, that's when you can charge nice packages. And it can be very, very hard to start out as a social media manager when you don't know someone's business, when you've never done this before, you don't really have a clear framework on how to do things. So I encourage you to first start doing it for your own business. This is where you will get the most confidence in the technical side of things, like how things work. So one of the first things I want you to do, so you can step into this confidence and gain that experience, and then you can start to see how it works and you can take on other clients, right? So at the beginning, it would be ideal for you to pick clients and align with clients who are in a niche, an industry, or something you feel passionate about, something you have a connection to, so you have the most confidence in helping them write posts. So if you go all in with a niche you already know, if you're starting from ground zero, it'll just be that much easier. And then once you're confident, you'll kind of become more of a keyboard warrior. The words will just flow out your fingertips. You'll be able to write better because you know the topic. I want you, when you take on your first client, to give yourself plenty of time to plan and to learn their brand voice. I talk to a lot of fellow business owners who hire someone on Monday and they're annoyed they don't have their brand voice figured out by Thursday. I'm like, it does not work like that. So I want you to include this time to do your research on the client once you've been hired and charge for it. I'm not saying you have to listen to 50 hours of podcast time and charge your client, but definitely bake in a good 8 to 10 hours for content strategy, right? For learning the voice and understanding their brand and doing the research you need to do. There's one other thing I want to talk about when you're taking on a new client, and that is give yourself time before you start. I've made this mistake. I've seen other people make this mistake where you think you're doing someone a favor by starting right away. And it's a burning fire. They act like, oh my gosh, they're so overwhelmed and they need you. And you're like, sure, I'll start posting tomorrow. No, don't do it. Go ahead and say, I will start posting in 2 weeks, and take those 2 weeks to get a plan, get your client time to approve things and tweak things and give you that feedback so it can be better. You'll be hurting yourself because if you start posting right away and you haven't taken that time to learn each other and figure out if that's what they even like, they're going to start off not really happy. Social media is hard. A lot of people think it's easy, or they just want to hire someone who will get their brand voice right away, and they don't realize what an investment it is, what a challenge it is, and it's not so easy. So you have to have a little bit of this data over time to really perfect your strategy, and it doesn't happen in the span of instantaneous, right? So give yourself time before you officially start. And I love to keep a couple dates open for the client to do what they want, because I still think it's their business. And if they feel the need to post, it's nice for them to say, hey, Tuesday's your day to post a personal story. I could never write about what's going on in your life in this very moment. Tuesday's your day, take it or leave it. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you is about repurposing. There's tons of tools out there to help you repurpose content and make it super easy on your client. There's Captivate, there's repurpose.io, and that will take any kind of video and then put it into clips and put it out in the world. And sometimes you can help your clients with those clips, but it's so much better if you use one of those programs. I encourage you to go back to your clients' best performing post and try rewording those, revamping those, taking out little segments of those, reworking them, and reusing those first if you're struggling with what to talk about. And absolutely tap into what we call the best hits, the greatest hits on social media. And it's good to create a master hits list and be able to do that and cycle them through. There are scheduling tools like smarterque, Sprout Social that make it easy to schedule reoccurring posts too. So you can put it on autopilot, just like Pinterest with Tailwind and whatnot. So then as you start to get the hits down and you see what's working, you start to really dive into your clients' content and know their story and know their signature pieces of content every week. You can start to create those posts from scratch based on what's happening in the world. There's so many good social media resources out there. There's little mini memberships that will give you the Canva templates. There's memberships that will give you prompts for reels. There's memberships that will give you prompts for captions. If you have a lot of social media clients, that could be a really good investment in your business to help you, especially if you're struggling with like what to say. A good rule of thumb with social media is have your pillars of content, and it's usually related to who they help, why they do it, and how they do it. And then I always joke about beverage of choice. Like everyone talks about their beverage of choice on Instagram. You absolutely do not have to do that, but you need those personal stories and connections to help your client. And it's really hard to do this on your own without your clients' involvement. And I want to encourage you, as you gain this clarity, as you see what's working and who has what it takes, like shed the clients who aren't going to deliver because they're holding you back. If it's holding back your business, it's not good for you because you have bigger fish to fry and bigger paychecks to collect as your work gets good, as you get results. So big hot tip, when you get a new social media client, take a screenshot of their current profile before you start and jot down their starting numbers. And then you can use this in your own testimonials, your own results to show that you know how to get results. One major reason why I like social media, it's a gateway. A lot of people get started in it and then they start to get involved in launches or they start to get involved in more creative specialized services. Can open the doors to blogging and website design and video editing and strategy. Start today for your own business. Don't wait until you have a certain number of clients. Like start practicing now, start getting that experience now. You'll be able to advise your clients because they'll be looking to you to help them with the trends and what's happening, what's the latest thing.